It's Roger and James here from the DisKingdom Podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking all about Marvel Battle Lines. There's a brand new card game that's going to be coming to iOS and Android later this year. It got announced a few weeks ago, and I was actually out on holiday when it was announced, and for some reason, it fell through the cracks, and I didn't see any information about it. But James, you've been trying out the soft launch on this one, and so what have you been thinking of it?
Not an incredible amount, honestly. I downloaded it. Yeah, I've got Android, so I downloaded the APK from the soft launch. I gave it a try. I played it off and on for a couple of days. There have been a lot of server issues, but yeah, I mean, that's to be expected with soft launch, so we're not going to hold that against the title. But overall, the gameplay is just kind of I mean, so the idea is you're playing on a 3x4 grid. Mm-hmm. And you can drop these cards which represent your characters, and obviously you've got the heroes that you know, the iconic characters. And you have to form lines on the grid. So these can be horizontal, vertical, or diagonal lines. And then you can also, like if you cross two diagonal lines and then the final piece is that middle spot, then you'll get like extra power for it and whatnot. Which does add a certain kind of fun tactical element to it, but I never felt engaged by this game. I never felt any reason to log into it and try it out. Sure, it's got the collection aspect, just like you would expect from, like, say, Marvel Strike Force or Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. But I don't know. There was just something with the combat that just really wasn't all that satisfying. So I don't know. I mean, obviously it's still in soft launch. They'll be taking feedback. They'll be updating it, hopefully, based on what people tell them, but I honestly don't know what they can do to really make this that much more entertaining. Also, it felt like it was a little too difficult to get new characters. In games like this, and I think I mentioned this on the Disney fighting game that came out not that long ago, was you really, especially at the beginning, need to throw characters at people. You need to be like, all right, here's Captain America, here's Iron Man, here's Black Widow and Hawkeye, and every battle has new characters coming in, at least for a little while. You got to hook the characters. And it really wasn't doing that. And the characters it was giving you at first were like, here's your S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, here's your S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't care about the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. These are the guys who die in the comics to prove the threat is real. They're the Redcoats. Or the Red Shirts, sorry. It was July 4th last week.
All the Butlins Redcoats are all going, no, don't kill us.
Sorry, it was July 4th last week.
That's a very British, like, it's just a kind of funny thing of, I think as well with card games, you know, the whole aspect as well, you can see that they're going to do about 1,000 variants of each character on each card, and it's going to be that kind of collect them all, and people kind of jump into that.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's a card game, but when you think card game, you think of either something like Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone, or even a traditional card game like Solitaire or whatever. This, although they call it a card game, and although there are the collecting mechanics and the team that you field kind of comes to you randomly, other than that, it doesn't really feel like a card game because a lot of your power comes from the formation that you put on the field rather than from the individual characters. So, yes, there's that element of I'm drawing a card, and whether or not I win might depend on if I get the character I need or if I get just random generic shield trooper. But other than that, it doesn't have that card feeling to it. So, yes, it's technically kind of card-based, but it's not what you're thinking when you think of a card game.
Yeah, because they've not really announced any kind of release date for this. It could be later this fall or at some point over the summer. Hopefully they can tweak it around a bit and get some feedback and kind of work it out. But like I said, it's... So overall, are you looking forward to it coming out properly, or is this something that you might just skip?
I think what's going to happen for me is I'm going to go ahead and uninstall it. And I will give it another shot when it comes out. And if I can find out where to drop feedback, I actually will. Because I think if you do play a soft launch game, you should register feedback. Otherwise, they're not going to fix whatever you find. But I don't have an incredible amount of faith that they can take what they've got and turn it into a meaningful experience. Now, I really do want them to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
I would love for them to prove me wrong, but that's my current impression. I will end on a positive note, though, and that is that the art in the game is really nice.
Yeah.
With the caveat that you do kind of have to like the Korean, was it manhwa?
Yeah.
It's not manga, but I'm pronouncing it horribly, I'm sure. But the Korean art style for their comics, which generally are very colorful, but also kind of have very distinctive lines and so forth. So
yeah, I mean, it might be one of those things as well where they'll start like introducing other artwork once they've kind of got it up and running and stuff, and get their artists to start doing bits and pieces. But it's kind of sounds interesting. For me personally, I'm not a big fan of card games as a whole. They're not this kind of... So this instantly, I hear the word card collecting and card things, and I'm like, it's not probably going to be for me. This is not my kind of style of game. And again, we talked about it recently. The problem is with these mobile games, they're trying to make sure they've got everything, especially like the Marvel games, they're trying to make sure they've got something for everyone. But they get to a point where all they're doing is just adding more of the same, and nothing really. It's like the Ant-Man and the Wasp stuff that we talked about last week, where they bring all these characters and stuff in. You get to a certain point where nothing really excites me about these mobile games, because it's just the same. It's just, if you don't want to play Battle Lines, there's probably 55 other clone versions before.
I mean, if you don't want to play Battle Lines, just play Strike Force instead.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still got the collection aspect, but it's got a much more satisfying combat system, assuming you're okay with the JRPG turn-based style. I know that's not your thing, but it's probably more your thing than this is.
Yeah.
So,
because for me, like, Future Fight is a little bit better for me for that, or Contest of Champions, which I've got a little bit more control over. I think there's this thing. It's funny because I don't like Japanese RPGs. I don't like that kind of thing. But playing a physical board game, because I usually, like most weeks, go to a Star Wars night and play. Unfortunately, there's no like really good like Marvel games like that. But we play board games and you take it in turns and all the rest of it. It feels very different doing that to when I'm doing it in a video game. And it's almost like they're two very different things. And some people like that aspect. For me, a video game and mobile games, I don't tend to like that taking turn thing. Right.
I think it's kind of funny that you mentioned there's no like Marvel version of the Star Wars ships simulator and the Squads game, because they really are kind of successors to HeroClix, which really popularized miniatures. And yes, people will correct me and be like, Warhammer 40K. Yeah. Yes, obviously, Warhammer, Battletech, etc. They've been around forever. But HeroClix is actually one of the ones that really kind of made it available to casual gamers too, because if you were going to invest in Battletech or Warhammer, you're talking hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, and that's for unpainted miniatures.
Every week I see them all like the friends of the club all coming in with boxes and they set up all these little things, and it is very. But the Marvel stuff has, I tried finding those clips to see if anyone was nearby playing it and stuff, and there's just not a lot of interest in my area.
I think HeroClix is well past its prime, unfortunately, but it is still out there, and it would not surprise me if there is something else in the works, or even going back to a traditional CCG or card game or whatever. But we'll see. We'll see what the future brings.
Well, anyway, guys, let us know. Are you excited about this new Battle Lines game? Love to know your thoughts on it. James, where can they find you?
Find me heroiclegacy.com.
On that note, guys, thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back soon. Later.